Hello, my name is Vahid Kerousi. I'm the CEO of Bahar Software Engineering Consulting Corporation and also an associate professor in Queen's University, Belfast. So I'm going to present to you our latest progress from our collaboration in the context of Testomat project, which is a large European project. As you can see, a multinational project from across several countries in Europe. I am collaborating with the test engineering team of Sahabiti or Testinium Corporation from Istanbul, Turkey. As you can see, Mr. Alper Bora Keleş, Yunus Balaman, and Mrs. Zeynep Özdemir Güler. So the project has 34 partners. And as you can see, funding has been provided by different countries. For Turkey, it has been provided by TÜBİTAK. It's going to essentially end in September 2020, and it has got a very large funding, about 21 million euros. So, in our previous demo videos, we essentially showed several progress from our project. One of them was model-based testing. And actually, we have uploaded on YouTube several videos from our model-based testing project. One of them is this video that you can find from other links in the bottom of this video. We have made more progress, essentially, in the fact that we have added the coverage. When model-based testing is executing, we have developed a new coverage tool. I'm going to show a demo of that, which myself in collaboration with our Turkish partners, collaborators, we have done. So the system under test actually is a tool called Testinium, which is a test tool by itself. So we are testing a test tool that has been developed by my industrial partner, Sahabiti. So the address is testinium.com. Essentially, when you go to the Testinium essentially website, you can log in. I have a login myself. I can log in. You can log in with other websites and LinkedIn and Google. After you log in, essentially the system under test is essentially the web interface to Selenium, the popular Selenium tool, and it even has much more features. Dashboard, you can define new test project scenarios, etc. So to test this, we have used a popular open source model-based tool called GraphWalker, and also its website shown here. It's a very, essentially very good tool in terms of usability and features. You can also go and visit that. And for those of audience who are new to model-based testing, also there's lots of internet materials on what model-based testing is. Essentially, it's an application of model-based design for designing and also executing test suites. All right, so right now I'm running essentially the GraphWalker tool. Essentially, to test in Testinium, we have developed a large number of test models, actually 18 test models, and one of them is shown here. This is for login. So if I zoom, for example, I can see that when the test suite starts, it goes to, so there's a bunch of nodes and edges. It goes to start, and then we send the command. The edge is really, V is for vertex, E is for edge. We say go to login page, which is actually this page, login page. And then we want to verify that we are actually in the login phase. So behind each edge and node, essentially, several Selenium commands are written. And again, most of these details are in our other video. But I just wanted to mention that because now our coverage tool will run on top of this. So the question that we are asking is, when such a large model is testing a system, for example, we can see in this video, and it's possible to view it as I'm going to run it now. Right. So the model is testing the system under test. We asked the question of how much source code is covered, both in client side of the web application and also in the server side. So to do that, actually, we didn't find any, well, for the client side at least, we didn't find any tool, so we have developed our own tool. For server side, we are now working on that, and we are using a kind of popular coverage tool called the JCover. But today we're going to show the client side coverage while model-based testing is running. So essentially, again, I've got this here. So right now, we have recorded a video. This is essentially our coverage tool. As you can see, now I'm showing its source code here. And we are going to make also this coverage tool open source soon as well. And we have several Java classes and function. You know, there is JSON. It gets the data through JSON. So we are going to now run it. So this is going to run the JavaScript, which will essentially listen to model-based testing. So it's running in the IDE. As you can imagine, it's taking lots of resources because it has to load lots of libraries. Okay. So it runs on localhost, and then we access it on this particular port. When we essentially refresh the page, so this kind of JavaScript interface appears. So our ultimate goal actually is to measure requirements coverage, client side coverage, and also server side code coverage. So there will be 3 sub-pages and tabs. For client coverage, you can start and stop. And then it shows essentially 2 kind of line charts. The font is a bit too small. I will read it for you. So JavaScript coverage accumulative for all pages tested so far. And JavaScript coverage percentage per current web page. And I will explain to you what each of these things are. And yeah. So we can again press the button. There's also clear data. So right now we are going to start the model-based test suites now. So 2 systems are starting. This is the source code, the test suite really. So this is GraphWalker, Testinium cloud test. So that's the entire test suite and a huge number of files and also test models behind them. So we run that. Now the system starts to run the test suite, the model-based test suite. So right now, as you can see, it says Chrome is being controlled by automated test software. So now, model-based test suite is running on this window. So on the top right-hand side window, and top in the left-hand side window, we have the coverage tool. So coverage tool will connect to the Chrome, essentially Chrome instance of the right-hand side to get that coverage information. Also in the bottom right-hand side, we will have the GraphWalker tool, which will show actually the models live at execution time. We also start the line chart of coverage. And here we connect to the GraphWalker engine in the bottom right-hand side. So you have really 3 things running at the same time. So right now the whole system starts. Okay, I'm going to pause here. I think that's a very good place to discuss now. So right now, the system actually started from the login page. And as you saw, the login actually took place already. These charts, the top chart shows, well, right now they are the same, but if I let it to proceed a little bit. Okay. So system now, after login page, Testinium goes to a page called dashboard, which is kind of the main screen. The top coverage chart shows the cumulative coverage. For example, it's between 0 and 100, of course. Right now, between all the files, all the JavaScript files in the Chrome, it shows their essentially cumulative coverage. And actually, these values, as you can imagine, essentially come, essentially, you know that, I think F11. Yes. So essentially, if we go to under the hood in Chrome, we actually see the coverage. You know, this, for example, this dashboard page of Testinium has a bunch of JavaScript files. You see the JS files here. So our tool actually connects the Chrome engine to get the Chrome API to get these values. So instead of seeing all these things, we actually plot them. But of course, we add these things and we get their average. That's really what's happening behind the scene. So that's the cumulative coverage. And that's the coverage of the current page. And if I let this to run a bit more, so it's now in the dashboard page, it's going to do a few other things. Now you see this red line is kind of the coverage was the coverage of the login page. And now it came to dashboard page, so it becomes a different color, shows that for dashboard. And if we move the mouse, and now we'll move that after a while, it shows the screen, the page, the web page that these coverage values are from. And the value here went up and came down. I wonder if any member of the audience can guess why this happened. Well, the reason is that the second page perhaps had other JavaScript, had included other JavaScript files. And because the line of code of the total JavaScript increased, so that chart could actually come down at certain times, depending on which JavaScript files are included in different pages and which portions of them are executed or are covered by our test suite. So right now, the whole execution will continue. So right now it went to, well, it's back to login page because as you can see here, when we move the mouse, it actually shows, again, the screen is too small here, but for those audience which will download the tool and they can use it, they can see actually which screen is this. It went to dashboard page, it went back, so the amount of coverage was really small up to that point. But here again, you can see it like kind of goes up and down. As you can see here, actually, this is for example, test case that tests verify invalid password. So in the login test model, we are testing, this is the correct login user credentials, login name and password. And we have verified invalid password, verified invalid login empty. And this is about forgot email and forgot password to be sent via email. So it tests all the combinations that you can imagine. Okay, now as you can see, actually after a while, well, the cumulative coverage almost stables. And we can guess, actually, I kind of guess why this happens, because it has kind of visited like 4 or 5 pages so far, and perhaps, and when it logs in, logs out, and comes back in, perhaps it goes through the same stuff. It could go through different UI kind of buttons, but in terms of JavaScript, it covers the same stuff. So the JavaScript coverage doesn't change much. But here, each of these things are 1 page. Apparently, this is kind of the login page, I believe, the red one, because the charting library that we use, we kind of put some hash tables there, so it knows that for login page kind of uses the same thing, even if it comes back to it. So, kind of look. It's kind of interesting. As you can see, after login is the orange is the dashboard. So, and the others are the other pages. Now it goes to all scenarios pages. Yeah, it actually downloads the CSV file from the system. Okay, so that is a demo of our coverage tool, which we have named MBTCover, model-based testing coverage tool. And again, it has been kind of a very successful experience working with test engineers from Saab BT Corporation in the context of Testomat project. So we are currently working on several papers and publications, both in our industrial and also academic conferences and also journals that we are going to submit and publish. So thank you very much.